Today I'll be reviewing a 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk. Now, the Trailhawk is the most off-road ready version of the Grand Cherokee. It certainly looks different and has a lot of off-road goodies, and it's still luxurious and comfortable on the inside. So in this review video, let me tell you everything there is to know about this brand new Grand Cherokee Trailhawk so you can decide if this is the right SUV for you. Let's get started. First, let's talk about the looks, because this Trailhawk does look very different than all other Grand Cherokees out there. If you're looking at the front end, there's a couple things that pop out right away. First of all, those blue tow hooks, very distinctive, and they definitely catch your eyes right away. Take a look at the hood. You have these decals on top, this big black decal, and then of course a blue stripe that says Trailhawk, in case people want to know. And that also pops out. But overall, you'll see the common theme on the outside is blue. A lot of blue. On the side, you definitely see the Trail Ready emblem that's in blue. The Grand Cherokee is also in blue. Out back, you see another tow hook that's in blue. And that 4xe emblem and the Trailhawk emblem, they're all in blue. And there's still other places you'll notice that are also in blue. So Jeep wants you to know this is different than everything else out there because this is the Trailhawk variant or the Trailhawk edition. Now, besides all the blue, you'll notice a couple other things. Two-tone body color. So the roof is in black, the body, this one is white, so it does stand out. And plus, if you look at those wheels, well, you have 18-inch shadow chrome wheels, which look fantastic, but what looks even better are those beefy tires. Those all-terrain tires, they definitely pop out. Goodrich, Wrangler, very different than all the other tires on all the other Grand Cherokees. But here's a surprise, even though they look so aggressive, they still perform amazingly on the road. And I'll talk about on-road comfort in a little bit. So on the outside, you'll notice, yeah, the Trailhawk definitely looks different than all the other variants out there. But the question remains, why blue and why not red? Because if you look at the Trailhawk edition on the other Jeeps, like the Renegade or the regular Cherokee, they're red on the outside, red accent, red tow hooks. You'll see red everywhere. Red is more sporty, more aggressive, pops more. But why blue with this Grand Cherokee? It's because it's a plug-in hybrid. That's why this is a 4xe, which means you do get 4x4 standard, but you also get an E component, which means that this is a hybrid, not only hybrid, a plug-in hybrid. And that means you can travel in pure EV mode up to 25 miles, as long as there's enough charge. But when there isn't, well, then the gas motor kicks in. In combination, you're getting 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque, which also makes this Trailhawk the fastest Grand Cherokee you could buy today, too. The Trackhawk is not out yet. I'm sure they're working on it, but before that, this is actually the fastest one you can buy. And 0 to 60 is under 6 seconds. That's a lot of power. Now, besides the exterior look, what else do you get with this Trailhawk? Well, there's a lot of off-road goodies. I already talked about the tires. They are definitely different, a lot more aggressive, gives you more traction. But in addition, you also get an electronic locking rear differential, which is very important. For those of you guys that do go off-road, that's very important. Of course, you also get 4x4, which is equally as important. But something that's really unique with this Trackhawk is a sway bar disconnect. And the purpose of that is to give you maximum wheel articulation when you go off-road. When you're rock climbing, that comes in handy. It gives you more tire contact on the road when you're traversing all these big boulders and rocks and uneven surfaces. That's very unique. There's not a lot of SUVs that offer that. You can unlock it and relock it with the push of a button. Very, very cool. Also, this Trailhawk comes with adjustable air suspension, so you can lower it and raise it. In the max setting, you're getting over 11 inches of ground clearance. So if you're going over puddles or water like I am right now, or traversing over a lot of brush or branches or rocks, whatever you may be tackling, it comes in handy. It protects your underside. So you also do get that as well. So you get a lot of off-road goodies. There's also an off-road page within the infotainment system that gives you more information. For example, what your steering angle is, whether your rear locker is locked or not, your pitch and roll, what mode you're in. It'll tell you all the good stuff. So there's a lot of off-road goodies that's also inside this Trailhawk. So it's clear this Trailhawk can go off-road, but how is it on-road? That's where it's most surprising, because on-road, this Trailhawk feels and drives like any other Grand Cherokee out there, which is a good thing. It's quiet, it's comfortable. You really don't notice the more aggressive tires or anything else, really. It just feels like a normal Grand Cherokee, and that's fantastic. The cabin noise is very, very quiet. That's good. Occasionally you could hear the engine start up, but if you're just driving around town and there's range, it's as quiet as an EV SUV. So it's very quiet in here, and it's very comfortable because of the air suspension and the way they tune the suspension inside this Trailhawk. It's super comfortable around town. All the bumps and imperfections get soaked up. It's not really rattly inside either. It's very controlled. It's just very comfortable inside, if I haven't said that enough. Also, what I like is the steering. The steering has a really nice weight, even though this is electronic steering, but it has a really nice weight to it. And also the precision is really nice. There's no play in the steering wheel. Any little input in the steering, you feel it with this Jeep. So the steering is quite nice. Also, I'm a fan of the steering wheel. It's a nice shape, nice thickness. The leather is nice, and it looks good too. So I'm a big fan of the steering as well. And also in terms of the throttle feel and brake feel, both good. Now, because this is a plug-in hybrid, there is regenerative braking. However, there's a button on the dash. It looks like a battery. You press it, it says on, max regeneration on, or max regeneration off. So there's only one setting. If you put max regeneration on, when you let off the gas, you definitely feel this Trailhawk brake very suddenly versus a normal Grand Cherokee. But if you have it off, then the brake feels normal. You're coasting when you let off the throttle, and the throttle feel and brake feel normal. They don't feel bad at all. So the drive, the comfort level of this Trailhawk is surprisingly good. And what's also surprisingly good is the inside. This Grand Cherokee Trailhawk feels and smells and looks like a luxury car within. There's plenty of screens all around you, and everything inside is just designed well. I love the new dash design, how the center console kind of flows into this new dash. You have multiple screens. In fact, you have 3 screens inside. You have one in front of you, digital gauge cluster, 12.3 inch. It's a little basic, but there's a lot of stuff going on. But I have seen other ones where the graphics just feel more natural or better looking. But this one has a lot going on there. It's in front of your face. Of course, you have a 10.1 inch for your infotainment system, showing the latest Uconnect infotainment system. And then you have another one for the passenger that you could turn on and off. It's somewhat limited, but they can use that to change the radio station or media. There's also an HDMI port, so if you wanted to plug in something, an old school DVD player or something else that supports HDMI, you could also play that there too. So there's 3 screens inside, but I lied. No, there's actually 4 screens, because this Trailhawk also comes with a digital rearview mirror. So in case there are some tall passengers back there, you don't know what the hell you can't see, you could turn that on. So there's actually 4 screens in here. There would be a 5th if there was a heads-up display, but this one does not have it, but there's plenty of screens. But like I said, the dash design and center console, how it all flows in, there's nice use of leather pretty much everywhere. There are some places with hard plastic, but overall, it's a good looking cabin, and everything's in front of your fingertips. really easy to access. Now, because it's a Trailhawk, the blue carries inside, so you see a lot of blue stitching on the inside, on the dash, on the steering wheel, on the seats. They're also marked Trailhawk, right? And that's not a bad thing, because some pop really does add to this interior cabin, which is already very luxurious, but it definitely makes it stand out from the other Grand Cherokees. The seats are also quite nice. I really like the front seats. They look good, but they hold me in. The right bolstering, back and bottom, not too aggressive. And it's a combination of leather and suede. So it's suede on the inside, leather on the outside. That's why it does look good with the blue stitching, but it also works. You're not sliding around because of the soft suede on the inside. And same thing with the back seats too. Very comfortable. And I'm 5'10", sitting in the second row. You can see I still have plenty of legroom, 3 to 4 inches of legroom, 3 to 4 inches of headroom, right? So space is also not an issue. The seats are comfortable and you have plenty of space. Also, speaking of space, you look at the trunk area, it's massive. I know Grand Cherokee has an L version, but honestly, the trunk is so long and massive, you could probably fit a third row in there if you wanted to, but again, that's why there is the L version. There's plenty that you could store back there, so that's good. And also, if you fold down the second row, you can see it's virtually flat, which means you have even more cargo room. So what are some of the other features you'll find inside? Well, this Trailhawk is pretty loaded. Up front, you get memory seats, also power folding mirrors. Of course, you get heated seats, heated steering wheel, ventilated seats. You also get home link buttons. You get a giant panoramic sunroof on top, wireless charger, fully loaded, right? But also in the rear, you do get climate controls, heated seats in the rear, and there are so many USB ports. There's 4 up front, 4 in the rear, and both front and rear get their own 12V outlet. All right, so I just tested out 0 to 60. From a standstill to 60, like the first few seconds kind of slow. You mash the accelerator, there's like no input, and all of a sudden the power comes in. It's a weird experience, but once the power comes in, it comes on very strong. I've read figures 0 to 60 under 6 seconds, around 5.5, 5.7, which is respectable for a big mid-size SUV like this. So plenty of power. Unless you're trying to drag race this is more than enough for most families. Now there is something unique because of this plug-in hybrid powertrain. There's 3 buttons on the side, so you can kind of choose how you want the power. Hybrid, which means that it's auto, it'll shift between turning on the gas motor and an electric motor together, or one, or separate. It'll just do its thing. There's another one called electric, so you're in pure electric mode, and then there's one that's called e-save, which turns off the hybrid component, and then you're only using the gas motor. So you can choose how you want your power, but I would say 99.9% of the time you should just be in hybrid and let this Trailhawk determine how it gets its power. Now, as for pricing, the brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe Trailhawk starts around $66,000. And in case you're wondering, a base 4xe Jeep Grand Cherokee starts a tad over $60,000 and then tops out over $78,000 if you opt for the Summit Reserve, which is the top trim level. So 4xEs are not cheap. So the Jeep Grand Cherokee's 4xEs are actually competing with the luxury manufacturers because there's no other manufacturer that has SUVs in this price range. So this is really competing with the likes of the BMW X5, the Audi Q5, Q7, and the Mercedes GLE. So keep that in mind. So overall, am I a fan of this brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk? In many ways, yes, but there's one big thing that's holding me back. As for the good, I do like the looks. I think this Grand Cherokee overall for this generation looks fantastic, and the Trailhawk makes it look a little bit more aggressive. I also like how it drives. It drives like a normal Grand Cherokee, and that's a really good thing. Also, the interior cabin, very luxurious, and you get all the features, all the luxury features and off-road features too. Let's not forget, you can go off-road with this thing very easily. So all these things make the Grand Cherokee Trailhawk fantastic. But the one thing that's holding me back is the price. Like I said, this is mid-60s closing in to 70. And if you add in some options, it is at 70, right? So that's pretty expensive. That puts us in the same category as many luxury brands and luxury cars out there. So that is what's holding me back. And one other thing that's negative would be all the blue. You know, blue with cars represent hybrid, represent fuel savings, doesn't make people feel aggressive. So I would prefer if all the blue was changed to red. Like all the other Trailhawks out there, they're all using red accents everywhere. I would love for this to use red instead of blue. That's a small nitpick. It's subjective, I know, but that's also there. But overall, the price is holding me back. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is worth it? Do you think this is a perfect SUV for you? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for my future review videos. Take care. Bye-bye.